In this presentation, we will discuss the DFD and the ERD of our project proposal. First, let's look at the context level data flow diagram. In our context level diagram, we have three external entities: members, officers, and new members. New members will put in their information and receive an ID to become members. Members will put in their own information in order to receive club information. Also, officers will put in club information and gain reports from our system. This is a little bit more in detail of what our data flow diagram will look like. Let's shrink it down a little bit. So we have members who will input their payment information to pay dues. They will gain a receipt in return. Also, this payment information will go into member information and will help keep the information up to date when members pay. Also, members will be able to request info and receive it. The event information is pulled from an events information table, which is updated when officers update new event information, and that goes into the table. They can also receive reports from these events. Finally, let's look at the new members. New members will input their own information in order to register for membership, and they will receive confirmation of their membership. The registered membership information will go back into the members info table. This is more in depth of the idea of paying dues. So members will input their own information to pay club dues and receive payment information, which runs their credit card, and they receive a receipt. Again, that information is sent to the members info table. Also, members will be able to get more event information. For example, they can request a song, and they will receive a song request confirmation. The song information will go into a playlist. That playlist will eventually go to a DJ. Also, the song information will go into the events table so members can see what songs are requested. Any information that members receive will come from the event info table, which will be updated as members check into events or request a song. Another thing that is really neat about our system is that members can check into events. So they will put in the event information, and then they will confirm their check-in, and they will also be able to see other members present. This is a little bit more detailed information about what officers do in relation to the database. So they will be able to put in new events and gain, and that'll be confirmed, and that new event information will go into the event info table. And then they can also create a report by pulling information from the event information table, and they will gain that report to see what changes they need to make in the future. This is our final process, which is new member registration. So new members will put in their member and payment information in order to register for membership, and they will receive their new member ID. The payment information is sent to payment verification, either through PayPal or some other online service where we can gain their payment, and they will gain a receipt from that. After they've registered, the new member information will go into the members info table so that we can pull up their information whenever we need to. This is our entity relationship diagram. So we have 9 tables, and let's start with members. So members can also be instructors, so they are linked by their member ID, and members can only have one rank, but we want to keep a detailed description of what their ranks can and cannot do. So that's why we have a separate rank table. We also have members being able to be a part of transactions, which is like a payment for membership or for an event. And so member ID can link to this transaction table here so we know who paid and when they paid. Also, we have the events table, and the events is linked to the transaction table just so we know what event is the member is paying for. If they're paying for their membership, we can note when in the year they've paid for that based on the event ID. And if there is no event ID, like they're just paying randomly, then that can stay a null value. Finally, we have this events type table. We also want to keep a detailed record of the types of events we want to hold, so we know kind of what each event should look like, which is why we also have a rank table. This is more for future officers so that they know what to expect when they come into the system. So this is like a type ID, a description, for example, barn dance or lessons at the graduate, and then the number of instructors required. And that should be really helpful for future officers. Finally, let's take a look at the data dictionary. Let's enlarge it a little bit. So each color represents a different table. So first we have the members table, and we'll obviously have a member ID, which is what we saw in the data flow diagram. The member gets to log in, so that will be a primary key, and they'll have their first and last name, their rank, which is drop down, which is linked to the rank ID here, whether or not they've paid, and their email so that we can send them emails. Then we have our ranks table, which will include rank ID as the primary key, a description of that rank, and whether or not that rank involves voting privileges. Next, we have the instructors table, which includes member ID, and then that will be linked to the members table here, and their teaching level, which is easy, medium, hard. Next, we have the transaction table. So we have the transaction ID as the primary key. Event ID and member ID are foreign keys pulled from their respective tables. The date and the amount is really important for understanding each transaction. Next, we have the events table, which is split up, but it starts with the event ID here, which is obviously our primary key, and a date, description, type, and location of each event. The type is a foreign key, and it's a type ID. It references type ID in the type table. So the type table includes type ID as the primary key, a description of that type, like we said, barn dances, lessons, etc., and then the number of instructors required at that event. Next, we have the songs table. The song name will be the primary key and will include length, artist, and tempo. So you know if it's fast or slow. It'll be a drop-down option so that we can keep consistency. Next, we have playlist, which is affected by the songs and the dances. So it'll pull song name and dance name from their respective tables to create a playlist, and that way we can generate an actual playlist for each event and hand it to the DJ. Next, we have dances, and these are like the types of dances. For example, electric slide is a type of dance, but can be done to different songs. And so that's why we have a playlist that includes the song name and the dance name. So the dance name is the type, the dance, but the dance is legitimately called. not necessarily the song that it's typically performed to. The difficulty of that dance, which is the drop down option, the type of dance, whether it's a line dance or a swing dance, things of that nature, and then the step count, um, so that future officers can also understand that. So that's a basic overview of the types of information that we'll be dealing with in our system. We believe it's really important to analyze these so that we can understand better the types of systems that we need to use